Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? I've edited a lot of podcasts lately, and for some reason, whenever I say hello, ladies and gentlemen, I throw my hands up like a fucking lunatic. But I guess it's a fucking tick, I guess I'd say. I don't know. I'm Travis Snell. Welcome to the fourth edition of the Superhero News Roundup. I'm 99.99% sure that is true. I am Travis Snell. Superhero News Roundup is back. As I said before, it's going to be sporadic, but when it drops, man, is it good. What the show is just to tackle some superhero news. Lots of times we tackle this on the main cast, but the main cast, I think, will be coming back maybe next week. Geekverse Live will be coming back next week or maybe the week after. I'm not sure. So I wasn't sure when we're going to get to talk about this news. Had some free time. This is kind of our off period. Most of our content that's coming out is already pre-recorded. That's why tomorrow or whenever you're listening to this, check out our 2018 movie preview. Again, throw out some cheap plugs. Check out all the reviews we've done the past little while. We got the Gauntlet. We have a gaming league, a gaming competition league. I'm one of the champions in it. That is coming back at the end of January. Watch it. We did our first set of tapings, and man, straight fire. I'm very, very excited for everyone to see. Marvel Retrospective will be dropping soon. We're reviewing every movie in the Infinity War, every movie in the Infinity War saga, every movie in the MCU saga, leading up to Infinity War. What else we got going on? There's going to be some good stuff dropping. There's some stuff that we can't talk about yet. Black Panther around that time. I'll see reviews coming up soon. I think we'll be dropping a fantasy Disney / X-Men Fantastic Four draft where we're going to draft certain actors who we think would be the best fit to play these people. We're either going to do teams or we're going to do one or each other. But if someone were to pick, no one's going to pick him because he's not Wolverine. But if someone picks Hugh Jackman, you can't pick him anymore. So it could be a lot. I think it's going to be lots of fun. We've done a couple of drafts already. It's quite a bit of fun. I'm trying to think if there's any more plugs to get out of the way. But we got a lot of good stuff going on. Please subscribe on our channel. I guess I get that out of the way now. And we can get into the news. I took a big breath because, I'm going to take water. You see, that's the problem with solo casts. Only one problem. I like doing it because I'm a person that likes to talk and ramble a lot, as you see, but the water breaks. Group people, you can always sneak them in, that timing by yourself. It's always awkward. It's never, you'd have to edit the water breaks out, and that's never fun. So let's get to the main topics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be covering a wide variety of topics, but not too many really when you break it down. The main ones I guess I can give you, the Superhero News Roundup is, the past was going to be, it's a show about rounding up the hottest superhero news, the most buzzworthy news, something that I want to talk about. And that's what I'm going to do. There's certain news like, hey, David S. Goyer said, guess what? Green Lantern's still coming, but I don't know when. I'm not going to talk about that. There's nothing to talk about that. There's some stuff that we just throw aside because let's just talk about the meat and potatoes, or potatoes and scallop potatoes, which, scallop potatoes are great. So we're going to talk about these shifts with the X-Men Fox movies. I'm going to talk about Black Widow. I'm going to talk about Kitty Pryde. And then I'm going to talk about this Tom Hardy's Venom picture. And you should stick around for that because what a picture to talk about. What a picture. Anyway, so what we're going to do here, just like the bad guys, we round up the news. So I'm going to talk about this Fox, I guess it's a mini it is a shakeup. I don't want to say shakeup because I feel like the past year you've heard like DC shakeup or hey, like shakeup with the Han Solo movie. It's not, I don't think, to that extreme. It's just something that is a little peculiar. And as if you are, I don't know, if you took a look at the thumbnail, Han Solo is in the thumbnail. This is a superhero show where I just talk about Disney. I talk about Disney, pretty much, I guess. I talk about Marvel and I talk about DC. Han Solo is going to be talked about in this conversation because I think there is a talking point that has to factor into this conversation. But this is not me incorporating Star Wars in the show on a regular basis. That's why we have Cantina Conversations. Check it out. We just did an episode 9 prediction show. Watch it. So I guess that's what I'm going to do. So if you haven't heard the news, I'm sure you have. Deadpool pushed up, I think it's 2 weeks, May 18th. And I don't have the exact dates because the 24-hour stream that we did in November, it is uploading to YouTube and it is a bitch. I also have this terrible USB that if I move it, it stops uploading. So I have to get through this upload and then buy a new one. But I don't have the exact dates there. Usually I got my laptop, but I don't. So, and then New Mutants pushed back 10 to 9 months because I think it said February and that wouldn't be 10 months. because that would be 9 months. But I swear that's what I saw. But either way, pushed back to next February 2019. So it was supposed to come out March this year. And Gambit, you'll have to excuse me, that I think was February 2019, and then they've pushed it to like, is it maybe late, like early summer, May, June or something like that. So Gambit, who cares? We'll talk about Gambit. Oh god. So I'm breaking this down into 3 categories: the good, the bad, and the ugly. I think the bad and the ugly are talking points. They're nothing to be concerned about. It's nothing like Warner Brothers right now with the big DC shakeup. I'm not even going to talk about that either, because that stuff is just so, we've talked about so much, and it's just, we can't talk about anything until we really get concrete plans over there. And Fox recently has been pretty concrete on their plans. It's like, hey, we did Deadpool, we did Logan, it's going to lead into X-Force, and it's kind of been chugging along, and then you got a multiple man movie announced, this and that, and it just was, to me, like this little engine that could, and I think they're right now, and if you look at the what have they done for me lately, they're making the best superhero movies out there right now. I love some of the MC movies that have come out, and I loved Wonder Woman, but Deadpool and Logan are special. You know, the only one I'd throw up there in the past few years up on that level is Civil War, to be honest. Wonder Woman I still think is in that lower tier. So this is going to sound bad, but I only have one thing in the good section for this huge, I will keep calling it a shake-up, but that I know is, I think, a little hyperbole, but it's an easy word to use. Deadpool moving up, and then New Mutants moving to next year. The good of that is, I think, when I heard, and we talked about in the 2018 movie preview coming up, so it will be a little dated. We previously recorded that. We did not think New Mutants would get fucking bumped into the entire different year, but when I heard you had New Mutants, Deadpool, and X-Men Dark Phoenix coming out, I thought that was too much. I am not a person that subscribes to the superhero fatigue. It is only 9 movies out of the, I think it was 9 in total for 2018, 7 to 9, somewhere in there. And I agree with some people that say, hey, I have the same mindset of thousands of movies come out. There's only fucking 9 Marvel DC movies, you know, in total. That's not that much. People can spread the wealth. For me, it was just I went back and forth because they are very different, but I didn't want it to get, hey, we really love the X-Men again with Days of Future Past. Apocalypse was a little bit of a road bump. Deadpool and Logan. 3 out of the 4 passed 10 times. 3 out of the 4 passed 10 times. 3 out of the 4 times they've got to the bat. They've gotten to the plate with the bat and hit a home run, in my opinion. But and you look at them, they're spread out. Days of Future Past, Deadpool, Apocalypse, Logan. Yeah, sometimes they might cross in the same year, but very spread out. I thought the 3 together was a little too much. Even though New Mutants, completely different. Horror vibes, very supernatural, teen type of movie. Deadpool 2 is Deadpool 2, raunchy, R-rated action comedy. And then X-Men Dark Phoenix is just your classic X-Men team adventures. I do understand that they are different, but it was just something about, for some reason, because for me, you look at something like last year, Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man, and what else came out? What was the other MCU movie? Oh my goodness. Losing all my cred right now. Guardians 2. My favorite one out of 3. Forgot them. That kind of goes for and against me, because to me, I just feel like, yes, they're in the same world, but they feel very different. And that is the same for X-Men. But the thing is, they're different IPs, right? Guardians comic book, Spider-Man comic book, Thor comic book. This is all X-Men. It's all from the same restaurant. That's what I'm getting at. Even though, yes, MCU is. I'm just saying, let's say MCU has, they're a restaurant, and then they've created different spin-off chains. Like, there's McDonald's, but then there's, like, this thing called, I don't know, Mad Burgers, but it's still owned by McDonald's. This is like, hey, you're always going to eat at a McDonald's with X-Men. I don't know if this analogy is making any sense. I hope you follow along, but the thing was that it's all X-Men. And that's where I've worried that people, even though X-Men's not in the title of 2 or 3 of those movies, that you're going to be talking about mutants, and you're going to be talking about powers, and you might be alluding to different universes. And the other thing is, because X-Men and Fox get so messy with their continuity, which Deadpool has a fun time with, But something like Logan, we have fun and we can just ignore it, but at the end of the day, we still seems like they picked and choose things, right? And that's where I thought you could get a little much. I still think that at the end of the day, they would be successful if they're great movies. And my argument for MCU might not even work for any of you, and I could understand that because at the same point, you can look at that and say, hey, MCU is three completely different movies. That's what Fox is doing. So I can't say you're wrong. It was just something about it. And maybe it was the fact of Marvel can do it because they've been on such a roll and they've been knocking it out of the park all the time. Always, even if they don't hit a home run, they're always getting to home. They might hit, only a double, or they might go to first base, but then they'll run it all the way and eventually get there. Home base being like a great movie, or a good movie at least. A knockout, a home run is just like, it's fantastic, this and that. With Marvel, I felt like they had the cred to be able to put out 3 movies and people not feel fatigued. Where X-Men, to me, I was getting worried where it's like, hey, Days of Future Past, that kind of kicked off this whole new thing. Then Apocalypse, okay, whatever. Deadpool and Logan. My worry was, hey, these movies are going great. Let's do X-Men Dark Phoenix this year. Let's do Deadpool. Let's do New Mutants. It's changed a lot now because the mergers happened, but I just was worried they were getting a little hot and heavy on that X-Men. I want as many of these movies as possible. You all know, if you're long-time listeners, we're going to always be there opening night, watching and then reviewing these movies. I don't care. I could take an X-Men movie every month, every week of the year. That's the way I operate. But for the mainstream audience, I did worry that just talking about mutants all the time. That's the thing. Spider-Man has Iron Man. Guardians doesn't have an Iron Man. Thor didn't have Iron Man. They may mention him, but if he's always around, he would feel... That's why, to me, I don't feel Iron Man is overused because they sprinkle him in. Something just the word like mutants. If you're going to keep hearing about mutants, and especially with Cable coming in, with time travel, it's going to get very convoluted, possibly. I just worried that it might be a bit overkill. I think I'm in a minority there, but I think it is a right move to do. Even with Dark Phoenix, I was like, that does not need to come out in November, but... Even if you did the New Mutants Deadpool, well, I guess it's changing now, but now, to me, it's a perfect thing of Deadpool, X-Men, and then the next year, if it goes according to plan, New Mutants and Gambit. That's a great 1-2 punch for both years. I think I like it better than, instead of front-loading 2018 and then 2019 just having the one Gambit, spread it out, because then also, let's say if nothing else came out in 2018, in my opinion, you get the sprinkleness of you're always being talked about. Not the same way as... that's why we'll talk about Solo in a second, why Solo, I think, always should have been December. Solo comes out in May. People are still talking about Last Jedi. They're not done talking about Last Jedi. They haven't processed it. And they're not even going to barely be done processing it by the time Solo comes out. And then Solo comes out, but then there's such a long way from Episode 9. That maybe because Last Jedi, the reception, maybe that's a good thing for them. And maybe if Solo's not the greatest. But still, to me, for a while... They get the benefit of the doubt because it's Star Wars, but any other franchise, you kind of want an ongoing franchise like that, not like an Avatar or like, I guess, like a Terminator. I mean, like ones that are trying to build big universes, like a DC or something like that. You want to be in the conversation. Something like Aquaman, it did pay off because, hey, Justice League was kind of just a far in the wind and it went away. Let's have some space. I think the space is good for X-Men, but I don't think having those 3 films, Gambit, and then this big space would have worked. At that point, X-Force could have came out in 2019, so I could be completely wrong. This is me just blowing smoke as far as my opinion and what I like. And I think spreading the wealth past the 2 years is a good call. So that's the only thing that's good, because really, there's not much to know what's good about it until we see these films that are finished products. The bad. So, I think there's bad for a few people. I think, and we talked about this in our group chat with Geek vs. Some of the Geeks, Taylor brought up, like, oh, Deadpool, that could be bad, sandwich in between Infinity War and Solo. Not at all. He is not a part of this bad category. I think unless Deadpool gets the Deadpool like 5 and they're just putting out like American Pie, like the Bandcamp DVD movies, like where it's just like, oh, Deadpool's just all about raunch and it's not even that fun anymore. They've kind of out-meted themselves. If we get to that point, then sure. But right now, if Deadpool delivers a movie even a little less, but still close to the quality of the first one, he's going to be untouchable. He's going to be fine. I've always said that Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool was going to be as Jack Sparrow. He's going to be doing this for the rest of his life. This is what he's going to be known for. You look at Pirates of the Caribbean, this last one was the lowest one, and this was, what, the 4th one or the 5th one? It was the 5th one, and it still made almost $1 billion, maybe $1 billion, I don't know, I think it was maybe 700, 800. It finally, after almost a decade, caught him like, yeah, maybe we're done with Jack Sparrow. Deadpool's fine. It's different than Avengers, it's rated R, it's in your face, it's doing something new and fresh with Cable, it's bringing back characters that we know and love already, whether you're a comic book fan or the mainstream, because Deadpool, I feel, is a movie that's watched quite a bit. Deadpool is one of those movies that everyone says, like, yeah, if I need a movie to put on, it's on in the background. The bad, I think, is for Solo and New Mutants. I'm going to talk about Solo because then we can move along from the Star Wars stuff. But with Solo, I did want to talk about, because that's a big thing. There's so much talk and so much controversy about The Last Jedi, which we've gotten to that, and I understand some of it, but it's there, and people are talking about it, and there is a somewhat negative flow about Star Wars. I don't think the flow is... I think it's pushing against the current. I still think there's more, from what I see online, more people that love it than hate it, but there's still a lot of people that dislike it or hate it, and I know a lot of my friends that not a big fan of it, or people have said, hey, I saw it again, or since I've seen it, it's cute, like my score is going down. So it's warranted. So either way, my personal opinion taking out of it, there is a backlash to Last Jedi. Solo is coming out soon. Solo has a horrible, awful task, unless they pull it off, of trying to portray a character at an age where we kind of know what he acted like. Especially, I think they've said, tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, that it's 5 years before New Hope, something like that. Maybe it's longer, but still, it's close. It's going to be close enough, unless you're doing like teenager Han Solo, it's going to be close enough to Harrison Ford. And we know what he acts like, we know what he sounds like, we know what Han Solo is and what he should be. Alden Ehrenreich has a horrible, terrible job to pull this off, and I hope to God he does, because Han Solo is my favorite Star Wars character. I'd love a great movie about young Han Solo, but really, he's my favorite Star Wars character. I don't want this movie, unless it's Harrison Ford and fucking Benjamin Button CGI, Chris Evans, Captain America and stuff. I don't think you can capture that same thing. So I think you got Last Jedi controversy. You got the Han Solo thing, which I think many other people feel this way of, like, if it's not Ford, this is going to be tough. It's a one-of-a-kind character, one-of-a-kind performance. And then you have just the fact of, obviously, the controversy of their own movie, switching directors and all this behind-the-scenes stuff and reshoots and everything like that, which I think now has died down. I think it's going to perk back up now because Last Jedi is controversial. I think if Last Jedi was a knockout of the park, people, like, for everybody, the way Force Awakens was until maybe a year or two and some people turned on it, if it was a knockout, people would just be like, oh, I'll trust them, So you got those three things. And the other thing is we haven't seen a trailer, and they've been really quiet, which I don't think is the worst thing. They're promoting Last Jedi. I think a trailer has to come out now. But I think there's a chance that Deadpool is just another brick on top of this fucking string of spaghetti that is Han Solo right now. And, like, I mean a dry... well, then again, wonder, you know what, Mythbusters, anyone, what would hold longer, a dry piece of spaghetti or a wet piece of spaghetti? They'd probably just break at the exact same time, but you know what, it's something to think about it. But I'm going to pick a dry piece of spaghetti. And it's just another brick on, like, oh, Solo just has to keep fighting against these odds. Like, it just seems like since that thing happened with Lord Miller, it'd be... something bad happened. That was the initial thing. You got 2 to 3 months of, it's going good, it's okay, Ron Howard's tweeting pictures, this is great, blah, blah, this is great. And then you'll get some report of, like, Disney's expecting this to fail, blah, blah, blah. And then the Last Jedi thing happens. And then it's, Deadpool's coming out a week before Solo. I'm not ready to make this prediction. But the last time me and Kyle said that was, and I feel less confident about this, but me and Kyle one time we did a podcast and we got roasted by it for some fans, was the podcast Dynamic Duo, which Dynamic Duo, Cheap Plug will be coming back soon. It's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be monthly, but it's hopefully going to be bi-monthly, every 3 months. Kyle's free and I'm excited to get back to the chairs and start talking about some comic book stuff. And we have some good specials planned this year that, again, I can't talk about, but I'm very excited. The reason I'm not trying to be like sly, like, oh, I can't talk about them. Big yes. I just don't like to talk about them because if they don't happen, I don't want to be like, hey, this big podcast is coming up, and then it never happens, or we don't have time, and like, oh shit, we just look like idiots, and we're over promising. We had a podcast talking about could Thor Ragnarok beat Justice League, and at the end of the day, we both said, you know what, Justice League will probably win, but we had some points, and we said there's a strong possibility it could happen. People call us idiots. I'm not saying this is gonna happen. I don't think it's as strong as a possibility as Thor Ragnarok, but there is a chance. There is a perfect storm where Deadpool comes out, and the first Deadpool, did 129 opening weekend? Let's say this one does even more. Deadpool 2, same things. Let's just operate on the basic, gets the same critical and fan reaction. People love it. Great time at the cinemas. Let's say I would give it a little bit of a boost because even more people know Deadpool. My fucking mother knows Deadpool. I'll shoot high. Let's say it hits, if it was 129, let's say it hits something like a 1... I'll say it. Let's say it hits 160. That's high for a radar movie, but let's say it does it. Hits 160, and let's say it takes a 50% drop the second weekend. Really good, strong number. And that is a high... Superhero movies usually take about a 60% drop. Wonder Woman, that's why it showed was so successful. It took, I can't remember the percentage, I'd have to look it up, but it took not the norm. It was the best, not like the best second week drop since Spider-Man, the original one, from people coming and going. Deadpool could have that if it is the same as Deadpool 1 because even more people's eyes are on it. People love that character. Deadpool is now even more a pop culture phenomenon. Ryan Reynolds' star is growing huge because of Deadpool. Outside Deadpool, no, but he is going to get that Robert Downey thing as well, where when Robert Downey's in the Iron Man suit, we want to be there. When Ryan Reynolds is in the Deadpool suit, we want to be there. I think there's a chance, there's a small chance, but Solo comes out. The most important thing about Solo, in my honest opinion, is that first trailer. If that trailer is not good, or if that trailer shows all my Ehrenreich and people go, he's not pulling off, that's not my Han Solo, I don't see Han Solo, that's a strike against it. And if it reviews poorly, I don't know what route I'd like to take on this. I think if it reviews poorly more, I'll go with the fans. If it's a Last Jedi reaction, and not even the reaction where you ruin my Star Wars, just it's mixed, because I think a lot of people... I think Rogue One has gotten that over time. The first few months it came out, people were like, it's the best Star Wars movie ever. And then after a while, people just kind of went, that happened. It's a very well-made movie. I still think it's a good movie, but it was like, it's just kind of there. I think Solo could get that a little bit worse, and it could get a little bit worse as far as reactions of, like I said, all of them playing Han Solo. And I don't think critical reaction is not going to get a Rotten Tomatoes. I think it would still be the lowest it might hit is like a 70%. I just have a feeling Disney usually knows how to make movies well for critics. And that's not a bad thing because I think people are going to be like, oh, they're paying off. No, I just mean that things that critics look for, good editing, good pacing, good shots, good score, good acting, the movie will have that for the most part. The people that are not connected to Star Wars and don't watch the trilogy every fucking year, just go watch, oh, that was a fun or a good, enjoyable movie. I had a good time with it. I think Disney can pull that off. Other than a few times, maybe like some of the Pirates movie and Maleficent, they can do it. But I think there's a chance that, let's say, critical reaction is just kind of, it's good in that 70 range. Fan reaction is mixed. Trailers are not the greatest. Coming out in May with having, and people like to spend money, but they have to still watch what they spend. You know, I understand that movie, there's Movie Pass in the States, there's ways to do it now, Cheap Tuesday, but still, especially if you have a family, it takes a lot to go out. Same thing last year, I really liked, but for me, it's not even money. It's just time to get out there and see it. So you're going to make your prediction, or you're going to make your choice for mainstream people. What am I going to go see? People are going to choose Infinity War 100%, I think, over Han Solo if they had the choice right now. And I think Deadpool 2. And that's the thing where Han Solo does not have... It has hype. Star Wars movies always going to have hype. But it does not have the same hype that Infinity War Deadpool 2 has. Infinity War is a can't-miss event, and Deadpool 2 is the sequel to the movie that made us laugh our ass off and blew mainstream people away. Like, who is this comic book character? And maybe change the entire genre. We have to see how it shakes out, because Dark Knight, to me, is a genre-defining movie, but it didn't super change the genre as far as... It changed the perception of comic book movies, but the genre is, oh, we're going to get a bunch of dark comic book gritty movies. We did. They didn't really pan out. You know, they just tried to capitalize on that. They didn't find a way. Deadpool, I think, is going to be the difference where that is a huge touchstone and a huge shift in the genre. Infinity War, you're going to go see. Mainstream people are going to go see. It's an event. It's this huge thing. The trailer, most watched on YouTube, which will probably break when, like, I don't know, some stupid fucking, I don't know, Slender Man, the trailer 2 comes out. No, but Deadpool as well. I feel like when I look at those three, if I'm the mainstream person, unless you're diehard Star Wars or Star Wars is one of your favorite franchises, like, I mean favorite as, like, it is, you, that person that does see opening weekend. If it's someone, I always say this, like my mom, like my sister even, when you look at those three on the board, and if you can only go to one, you're going to go Infinity War. But I think Deadpool is in that category of you can't miss it either. I think people are going to go out of their way to see it. That's where something like Apocalypse or Dark Phoenix, I think that is the same thing. People go, meh. New Mutants, I think they go, meh, I'll catch it on Cheap Tuesday. I'll wait for Netflix. I'll watch it here. I'll watch it there. I don't think Infinity War is that. I don't think Deadpool 2 is that. I think Han Solo is that. And I think why it's in the bad category is Deadpool opening a week before it, not good. And my point is, there's a chance that Perfect Storm, it opens very low at like a 60, 70 million, and Deadpool maybe doesn't beat it, but it's super fucking close or takes away from it. And yeah, it's different because Star Wars and Deadpool, and it's a space opera, or space adventure maybe, versus this raunchy action comedy movie, and it's rated R. Doesn't matter. Rated R movies, look at Deadpool, look at Logan, look at It. Radar movies, if they're done, and look at Get Out even, that as well. If they're done right and they hit well, they can be just as powerful as any PG-13 movie. They have to be done extremely well because you have to make it so people need to see this movie. I think Deadpool is a need to see right now. Deadpool 2 is kind of meh. Deadpool 3 will change. But Deadpool 2, I think, is a need to see, and that's not good for Han Solo. So that's my first bad. My second bad, and then we'll get into the ugly. The second bad is New Mutants. I'll keep this short because there's not much. The Wrap reported that, I don't know if it was the main reason or one of the reasons that it was getting pushed back is because they're going to do some reshoots and it's not scary enough. They tested it with audiences, I guess, I don't know, a month ago or a few weeks ago, and it's not scary enough. This is the thing that's kind of strange, because to me, reshoots, you look at something like Justice League, you look at something like video games. To me, delays can, for the most part, only be good. For the most part, I think. I think Justice League is a very different case, but most time, or even reshoots. Star Wars does them, Marvel plans to do them. They literally shoot their movie and they make time for, hey, if we need reshoots, it's in this window. It's a pre-planned thing now. So when people freak out all the time, you don't have to freak out about just the word reshoot. Sometimes when you got Han Solo reshoots and it's like a different director, okay, that's a little odd. So with New Mutants, if it got pushed back, I don't know, even if it just got pushed back to sometime in this year, to understand. 10 months. 10 months is a long time. It's getting pushed back into a different year. And I forgot to mention, there's a part of me that does also think Han Solo could still get pushed back. They've not dropped a trailer. They've not dropped an official image at the time of this recording. Watch, it'll come out and then trailer will drop midnight. Fuck me. But there's been nothing super official about Han Solo dropping. They could easily push it back in December. I know there's some movie there. I can't remember. Maybe it's something. Oh, it's Mary Poppins. Fuck Mary Poppins. Push Mary Poppins up. Mary Poppins come out anytime. I get it. I'm not a Mary Poppins fan. But Han Solo could be pushed back. So we'll see. New Mutants getting pushed back a little bit, fine. 10 months, that's a long time. And my worry about that is the phrasing. I don't like that it's not scary enough. I don't know if I buy that for 10 months. I could buy that 3 months delay, 6 months delay, almost a year, and we're saying it's because it's not scary enough. I don't know. And I think some people even said it tested well and it's still a good movie. I can't remember. I think there was a few people that said that, but I don't understand that if it tested well, it's not scary enough. To me, that's, and I do not know anything really about Hollywood. I just have a few opinions on movies. To me, that's a few months of shooting, I imagine, to add some scary scenes or sequences, right? Especially if there's maybe some dream trippy stuff that can be green screen, that can be all in a room. The movie looks pretty basic bitch as far as its shooting location. Looks like it's just kind of in an asylum, right? I don't like that. I would like if it was, hey, the characters aren't connecting with the audience. Hey, the story's not strong enough. Hey, even the villain's not strong enough. For it not being scary enough, I don't know. That either one, I don't buy it, or two, if I do buy it, and that's the truth. That doesn't make me excited because that makes me worry that they've seen the horror genre have this big boom and they're really trying to capture that and be like, it has to be scarier. It has to be like it. It is, I think, the best horror film of the decade. I do not think it is a super scary movie, to be honest. They have very scary moments, and I think there's things in the movie that are disturbing that scare me. But to me, even the jump scares, which I like, because I think people that overuse jump scares, it takes away from the movie. But to me, it was not. I was not. It's tough to say. It is scary, but I was not always jumping out of my seat. I was not always worried. I wasn't even. Some of the imagery didn't even scare me. But there was things the way Pennywise would act, very disturbing. That stuck with me. Certain scenes with Pennywise with the kids, or certain things they would do, or certain shots that they would have, would scare me. But the main reason I love that movie, or something like Shining, where to me Shining is scary as far as some of the concept it has with the father and the son, the mother, very scary situation with this man going crazy. And there's some scary imagery in there, like the naked lady in 237 or the twins. But to me, it's not one of the scariest movies ever. It's more about the characters. And the same thing with it. The reason I love them is because it's sprinkled of, like, you have scary elements, you have horror elements, you have fun comedic elements, you have these great story, like these great characters in a story. And that's the same way I feel about The Shining. That's the way I feel about It is. I can get scared a lot of places. And there's probably movies that are scarier than It for me. But why I love it is because this perfect combination of I love the characters. I don't think I look at It and go, I wish it was scarier for me. And I know I am older, so it's different to be, you're not as scared of stuff anymore. But even in the sense of It, it's like, okay, I could see this coming and it happened. But sometimes, like I say, that's not always a bad thing in movies if things are predictable. Because sometimes it's predictable because it should go that way because that makes sense. It's the right way to go. With them saying it's not scary enough, to me, that is, for me, a little worrisome of, I want this. Then to me, the story is not good enough for audiences to really love it. It, I guess, is super scary because there's a clown in there, and it's a personal opinion of me. But it's the characters in the story, and I think the scares come second because of what they do to Pennywise. Same way if Demon Bears can be New Mutants, build them up, build that legend up. So when you see Pennywise literally just run at a screen, it's not that scary because it's just a clown running at a screen. I'm not scared of clowns, but what the motivations of that clown is and the history, and like when he's holding this little boy and you know what that little boy represents, that's what makes it scary. What I worry is it's not scary enough is jump scares. That's honestly what I worry about. That's what I read from it, because to me, the things that scare me, and I guess that's the thing more about it, is like with It, I think it's a scary movie, but not in the sense of it's overly jump scary. It's not this thing of like you're always covering your eyes, like waiting for that big loud moment. It's scary in a different sense. It's scary about the story. It's scary about its tales of the kids growing up and dealing with adolescence, but also dealing with this fucking monster clown. Same thing with The Shining. The story around it scares me. There are certain scenes that are scary, but it's not a jump scare fest. It's not a gore fest, but the characters and the writing makes the situations uncomfortable, makes it scary. And to me, if that story is not already doing that with New Mutants, that's what makes me worry, because I feel like the story should be good enough to make you scared. I don't know. This will something that could probably come out more down the line. Obviously, in the press, they'll say some bullshit stuff like, "Oh, we just want to do this," or "There's not that big of reshoots," blah blah blah. Hopefully, some reports come out, but that's my worry. I do worry that it's just, hey, it's not scary enough. It's, and honestly, maybe that is a good thing. It's delayed 10 or 9 months, because that could be it. That they're shifting the story to make the presence of characters or the certain scenarios with these characters in them more scary. And I'm down for that. I just worry when I read them that is, hey, we want a popcorn jump thriller. We want people to be frightened. And I don't want that. I want a good story. I want good characters. The Ugly. I'm going to take a sip before I get to The Ugly. There's been an elephant in the room. You probably have noticed. Really haven't mentioned him that much. He's over there playing with his cards because he's lost another fucking director. Gambit. The movie that never is, and maybe one day we'll say never was. This movie, I do not understand what is going on. I don't understand from many perspectives. First of all, on a basis, I think I've said this before, I don't need a Gambit movie. Gambit is in my top 5 for favorite X-Men. He's one of my favorite Marvel characters. I love Gambit. I'd be so down for a Gambit movie. I just wanted to come the Wolverine way of, let's meet him in the team first and then go that direction. Because I think he has an interesting story, but I want to see him in that team dynamic first, and I think it's better to introduce him that way, because Deadpool, to me, not many people in the mainstream, everyone knew him, but he had in wrestling terms, a gimmick. He had a way for you to come in and get invested of this guy making fun of the genre, the superhero genre, breaking the fourth wall, something that's never really been done on film. Gambit doesn't have that. It's a thief's tale. That's great in a superhero genre. I think that's going to kill that. In a good movie, that could be great because we haven't seen that type of version of that movie in the superhero world. But that's not, to me, going to sell the movie that much. Channing Tatum is a big star, but movies don't really sell by box office draws anymore as far as stars. You know, it's more about concept or ideas, or maybe even sometimes directors. Gambit, this is the third director now. First one was Rupert Wyatt, who did the original reboot for Planet of the Apes. I thought that was a great choice. Like, perfect. Doug Liman, another solid choice. Just did Edge Tomorrow a few years ago. Edge Tomorrow is fantastic. Gone. Like, and then Gore Verbinski, who I don't think we ever got to talk about this cast. I actually thought out of the three was the perfect choice. When I think about Gambit and I think about what he did with that first Pirates of the Caribbean, that is exactly what I want in a Gambit movie. And that's why I'm so fucking mad this one did not happen. Because so many times we heard scripts being written, Channing Tatum's like a passion project, they get director, start date for production, delay. This is that same sequence has happened 3 times now. And Gore Verbinski is the one that makes me mad. Because I think that was going to be perfect. And I will go to bat for them every time. I think Pirates 2 and 3 are super underrated, and people give them so much crap. Those are so fun, and they're just the definition of good adventure movies. I think they're the closest we've gotten. Sometimes there's like Indiana Jones. People are going to hate me for saying this, but then like The Mummy with Brendan Fraser, and then Pirates. So there's so many. I think it's because of Pirates. Pirates 1 was so good. They held 2 and 3 to such a standard, but there's so many worse adventure fantasy movies out there than the Pirate sequels or some of the Mummy sequels, not the third Mummy sequel, but just the Mummy movies in general, that they couldn't love it, but I don't know. That's a rant repeat conversation. But all those things, I thought he was perfect. I thought it was a perfect match. I was invested because once again, the start date was coming up again. Channing Tatum was saying that they've changed their approach because of Deadpool and Logan. So I think that meant maybe a more mature Gambit. Another thing, Gambit I don't think needed to be rated R, but if they had a great story that fit the rated R world, then okay, fair be it. And Gore Verbinski, once again, I will say this again, perfect choice. He's gone now. They've not said anything, it's just he's gone. That's what the reports say. I'm speechless, but I'm trying to think, and I'll think out loud, of a prediction to make. Do I make this prediction that the movie's never gonna happen? I'm gonna. If Disney unbought Fox, I think there was a better chance, but by the time this gets going again, that could be, the Disney and Fox still will take another 12 months, 18 months, so they may have time, but they gotta find a fourth director. They've burned through 3 super talented directors. And I learned this because I said after Ben Affleck dropped out of Batman, I go, who's going to want to direct the Batman? Well, they got Matt Reeves. Perfect, like a fantastic director. So I was wrong there. So I could be wrong about this too, because there's probably many people that love Gambit. There's many people that love the X-Men. They'd love to get a shot at that. And there's just many young and up-and-comer directors that would be, hey, I want to take my shot at this. This would be a good fit for me, or this could be my breakout moment. So there's a director out there that will take it. It's just, how do you get excited anymore? The first 2 made sense because they were in this old regime, but once all these comments came out about how Gambit's being changed and lower budget, this and that, and then we just go through the same cycle again. What is happening? What is not clicking over there? Is it something that's not clicking with Fox? Is it something that's not clicking with Channing Tatum Fox? Is it something that's not clicking with Channing Tatum and these directors? Is Channing Tatum not really wanting to do Gambit anymore, and he just like, does he purposely push these directors away because he signed on to this and he's like, this is just a bad idea, I don't want to do it, and then maybe he has a way of making it a good idea, directors don't want to do it that way? I don't know. I think we need to give up. I don't think we need a Gambit movie. Just wait and cast. I think Channing Tatum would actually make a great Gambit. Just wait and cast Channing Tatum in the Disney one. Just bring him over the same way they're doing with what is it with Joe Manganiello and with Deathstroke in DC. Yeah, I guess it was always planned he's gonna be in the Justice League post credits, but they could have snipped that out because that Batman movie's not happening anymore. Obviously, they're like, hey, we like Joe as Deathstroke. There's lots of potential. Let's keep him instead of shipping him off and him going to fucking Marvel or Star Wars or getting some big franchise. Let's bring him back in the team. Say, hey, you're going to play this character still. We're just going to find something out for you. We're going to figure out a way. Channing Tatum would do that, I think, as far as... I don't know, actually. I don't personally know. But I mean in the sense of he could do that as the actor Channing Tatum. It's a perfect match. Disney has been lately putting bigger stars in their roles for look at Captain Marvel, look at Doctor Strange, look at Ant-Man, Downey, Edward Norton, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans. Look at the list of those people compared to the new people they're casting. They're going after heavy hitters now, or people that have great credentials, like a Brie Larson. Not everyone knows who Brie Larson is, but guess what? She has a fucking Oscar statue that says she's one of the best actresses in the world of last year, or she was the best actress in the world last year. I think that's pretty good to headline your superhero genre, your first female superhero genre. So I think it's a great deal all around that Disney would love to have Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum would work with the comedy and the quips they have. Would he want to do that type of movie? Like, would they do the Thieves movie? No. But if he really loves Gambit, if he wants to play Gambit, go play Gambit in X-Men. That's what we want. That's what should do. And then if people love Gambit, go, hey, Channing Tatum, maybe let's get back up and let's get this up and running. Let's do that Gambit movie. But it's ugly in the sense of, I think this one with Fox, this interpretation, and even with Channing Tatum, don't think it's ever going to happen. And I think we've said this since the beginning. I was one of the first people initially when we did Dynamic Duo. I was like, this is going to get delayed. Way, way back, even before reports, you can listen. It was just something about it. I was like, this is going to get delayed. It's very quiet. This has been like a running joke on Geek vs. Dynamic Duo, but I don't think Gambit is ever, and it's a running joke everywhere in the superhero community. Like, I'm not exclusive to that. It's just like, oh yeah, Gambit, that's never, like, Venom was that before, and Venom is getting a movie made. It's shooting right now, and it's coming out this October, and Gambit is still in this fucking developmental hell. So that is as ugly as it gets. Another director gone, another opportunity at a movie gone. Don't think it's gonna happen, and honestly, I don't care if it really does at this point anymore. I got maybe my last bit excited, unless they fucking announce Christopher Nolan is coming to direct Gambit, or Denis Villeneuve. You don't really got my attention too much. There could be another good fit, but I will not believe it until they're shooting or until I'm sitting there at the theater. And the other thing I brought up about, hey, the eventually we'll do a Gambit movie is, moving on to our next piece of news, is Black Widow getting a solo movie. That is rumored right now, but it's from the Wrap, and some other people I think have backed it up. So it's one of these rumors that are, oh yeah, it's not official, but it looks like it's gonna happen, and it'll be official in like a few months or years. It's like the Disney Fox thing. When that thing dropped, and then it's like, oh, they're not talking anymore. I said that on the podcast, like, it's gonna happen. And the other people did too, but there's lots of people that said, oh no, it's not gonna happen. It's the same thing that happened with Spider-Man of, oh, they're working on this deal with Sony. Oh, it fell off. And then 6 months later, oh, it's back on. Fox and Disney took a lot quicker. But with Black Widow getting the solo movie, it is very strange timing. There could be many reasons because, one, yes, Wonder Woman did very well, so people could be wanting to invest in that. Kevin Feige's a smart man. I think Kevin Feige maybe always wanted to do a Black Widow movie. Captain America Winter Soldier seemed like a great setup for it, but it didn't happen. There's rumors that Ike Perlmutter was not, like, I think there was a thing where they didn't make Black Widow toys because he said he couldn't sell. These are all rumors. These are not stories that he's confirmed, but things you hear on the trades or, you know, the dirt sheets and things like that. I don't know how I feel about this because I know how I feel about it. I really want it because I think I want a chance for her to prove herself, and this sounds very bad, but I want it in the sense of I think Scarlett Johansson can give a great performance. I don't think she's ever done that with Black Widow, but that's because I don't think she's ever gotten the chance to. I think she's always getting better. You look at Iron Man 2 and then you jump all the way to Civil War. She's always getting better. She's a standout as far as when she's in her scene. She's very good, and she has good chemistry with whether it's Evans or Downey or Ruffalo. She does a good job, but the character gets little shades here and there to be invested in, but we never fully get on board. And there's no reason, and that's why I do lean towards more the Perlmutter thing. I think Kevin Feige would have wanted to do one of these movies because you can't say, there has to be some reason. I don't believe it's finally we got a Black Widow screenwriter or we have a story for her. Somebody would have had a great story out there for her, and there's other great Black Widow comic book stories. I think it's just they didn't have I think it is more like Perlmutter thing that they weren't gonna get a clearance to do a Souls female superhero movie, which is super shitty. And it's, you can't say, oh, they wouldn't have had time to do it before Infinity War. They literally got Spider-Man and pushed Black Panther back a year just to do another Spider-Man movie. Yes, it's successful. People love the shit of that Spider-Man Homecoming movie. But at the end of the day, it was still pushing Black Panther back to get another Spider-Man movie. They could have pushed anything back or shuffled anything. They dropped Inhumans off the fucking schedule. They're so successful and they're good at what they do, they can do whatever they want. Black Widow could have been a movie, and I think it should have been a movie. Everyone else has gotten their movie, or at least I've always pictured done the Black Widow Hawkeye movie like they're doing with Ant-Man and Wasp. Do something like that. There's no reason. People would have been even more invested in Hawkeye and Black Widow. And some people hate it. In Avengers, we're going to talk about in a retrospective, but the scene with Hawkeye and his family. You could do that in a Hawkeye and Black Widow movie, them camping out there for a night. Some people thought that doesn't belong in Age of Ultron. I love it. It's one of my favorite parts in Age of Ultron. But you could easily shift that towards a duo movie. And I think a solo movie could work with her too. You even look at the Red Sparrow Jennifer Lawrence trailers right now. Oh, look, that's Black Widow in the movie. It is a very easy movie to make. I think no movie is easy to make. I'll take that back 100%. But I think it could be a very basic movie. It could be even more basic than Iron Man, than Ant-Man. The story is very small in Ant-Man. This should just be James Bond with Black Widow. You know? Bring Goldfinger, bring Oddjob. No, I'm not saying beat for beat, but make it a spy thriller. And that's why there's a good chance it could happen before as a prequel. If you listen to me, or the Geekverse, all of us, I'm not a fan of prequels. I feel like it puts it in a box. I know where the story is going. You can pick up little hints of, okay, we can't do this because we got to stay in these board lines. You can't bump into a Spider-Man. You can't bump into an Iron Man because he's not Iron Man yet. Do I want fucking 20 characters in the Black Widow solo movie? No, but it takes out scenes like with Ant-Man when he fought Falcon to get into the Avengers base or whatever it is. You take those out. Yeah, you could add maybe other little characters like have Howard Stark again or Peggy Carter. Okay, sure. I'm not opposed to it. I think a prequel is still good. It is one of the more prequels that I'm for because I understand it might work better in that context. But I still want after Infinity War. After Infinity War, it sounds like the world's going to be quite quieted down for a little bit because they're starting with Spider-Man. That's a street-level hero. Get back to the basics. Have smaller stories. Black Widow, they won't because it's Marvel and Disney. Make that for the Deadpool like 50, 60 million. Which, oh man, I just thought about that. So if they bring Deadpool into the MCU, and Deadpool's had flings with Black Widow in the past, and they keep Ryan Reynolds, and Scarlett Johansson is playing Black Widow, and they're formerly married, yikes. I hope they ended on good terms because that'd be so fun. But do that. Make a smaller budget Black Widow movie. You don't need to have it as a world-ending thing. Those are some of the best superhero movies, in my opinion. I think my top 4 are superhero movies that are not, hey, the world's gonna end. It's Dark Knight, it's Logan, it's Civil War. You could do that Black Widow. You could easily, and you could even make it a world-ending thing, like, oh, this person has this nuke or this powerful weapon, you gotta get it back. But don't make it, there's a fucking ticking time bomb, and Black Widow has to jump on a Batman Begins train, and then, everything like that. make it small. And I think it's a great idea. I want it to happen. And it is good for superhero genres to evolve as far as including more women. Yeah, some people will be like, oh, it's all this agenda and SJW and all this. For me, watching Wonder Woman was such an experience because it was, like, I cannot go get anywhere near that the way some women were affected. But seeing a woman on screen doing these things as far as a film and just a woman superhero be put in different situations. My favorite example is when she dances with that general, and I don't even remember the general's name. Terrible villains. I don't remember his name, but when she's dancing with him, it's like, this is a perspective I've never seen. The conversation they have. This is something you can never see Iron Man pull up fucking Justin Hammer in Iron Man 2 and they have this sensual but threatening scene together. And that for me is, yes, the aspect of women should be represented, but there's also stories to be told you can't do with men and stories that you should do with women and things you can do that are unique and fun and great storytelling. There's so much untapped potential because so many superhero female movies have been shit. They've been awful. That's why Jessica Jones to me I really like, because another thing, there was aspects of that show that had not been done before because previously it was a man. And I don't know, if you don't get that, just think about it for a bit. I don't want to call you stupid, but there is a difference between how a man's life works and how a woman's life works. I'm not just talking about body parts or having kids and not having kids. How we live our lives are completely different from one another, other than, yeah, we all use a phone. But as far as how we look upon things, whether it's a world or people or aspects, they're different. And I want to see that because I don't watch movies to see myself all the time. Yeah, okay, it's great to have 85 million white guy superheroes, fine, but that's why I like Black Panther. That's why I like Black Widow. I don't need to see myself on the screen. I just want to see great stories and great characters and different perspectives too, because it makes me challenge myself or think about things in a different way. So, all for that. I hope it does happen. Timing is a little strange, but I still think it can happen after Infinity War, because some people be like, oh, that confirms Black Widow is she surviving Avengers? I guess. I've said that from day one, that no female's gonna die from in Infinity War. You know why? Because there's fucking like 5 of them. You can't afford it. We can't kill off any of them. We need them to, like, the Civil War poster is literally 80 million dudes and then 2 chicks in the back. We need to spice it up a little. We need to add some more players to this team, and let's make them women, because it doesn't have to be a boys club. You know, that was probably my favorite quote J.J. Abrams said about Star Wars. One of the things that he was talking about with Rey and everything. He felt like when he grew up, Star Wars was a boys club. When he said that, I was like, yeah, it really was. Most of my friends were all boys that liked it. You know, and Leia was there, but she was the princess and kind of a sexual object. Not in the way of other than Jabba's palace, but she was something to be desired about, right? She was still a hero, and I think those heroes are in place. But with Luke being the main guy and Han being a very, manly man, it did feel like a boys' club. And I don't want Marvel to be like that. I don't want that to be like that for other people. I don't want that to be like that. I want her to be able to watch these and see herself or versions of her fellow females up there, because it shouldn't just be 10 white dudes, So, let me know what you think about that. Black Widow, I'm excited. I think it is a little strange timing, a little late, but I think it's about damn time. Let's do it. I think it'll open well. Lucy did well, even though it's not the greatest movie. Ghost of Shell's not the greatest, but I think that's a little too high concept for America. And yeah, there was some whitewash controversy, so that kind of hurts it. But we'll see. Talking about female movies, Kitty Pryde was another thing. One of these, was it Steven Weintraub from Collider dropped it on Collider. I'm a huge fan of Collider. And my favorite thing about it was, I'm not even trying to take shots at the guy, was just like, he's coming out here, this is an exclusive report, he's working on this, but then he goes, I think there's a 30 to 40% chance that's actually happening. I just love what sometimes dictate as news. I wanted to be out there, because obviously our show, is based upon content like that, and I love talking about those things. It's fun to talk about. Tim Miller is developing a Kitty Pryde solo movie. That's just the word, but it's just like, maybe just keep up that 30 to 40%. But at the end of the day, he's being honest. So I can't hold that against him. So at the end of the day, I'm wrong there. You do your report, even if it's just 30%. I'm not a fan of this idea. And I know I just said that for with the Black Widow thing. I'm a fan of it for, you know what? If someone has a great idea of that character, get it out there. And I hope they do. The reason I'm just not a fan of it is it's the exact same way as Gambit. It has nothing to do with the character or her being a woman or anything like that. I want the X-Men and the X-Men. It's the same reason why with DC I don't like we're going to do a bunch of Harley Quinn Joker movies. I want to see them with Batman first. I want to see Deathstroke as a villain first. You know, I want to see same thing as Doctor Doom with that movie that was kind of announced but not really. It's like that point I was fine with him being his own movie because we were staying at Fox, but well, they're never going to do a good Fantastic Four movie. But now I don't want to see Doctor do the movie. Even though Noah Hawley is fantastic, I want to see him as a villain in the MCU. So that to me is the only reason I don't like the Kitty Pryde movie. I like Kitty Pryde as a character. She's never been one of my all-time favorites. I really like her in some of the X-Men runs. I really liked her in Astonishing X-Men. I think she shines there, and anytime she's with Colossus, it's great. And Tim Miller is what gets me excited because talked about Deadpool earlier. It did all those things well about action, raunchy comedy, and sex comedy, and all this. One of my best things about that, if you go back to the review, one of my favorite things about Deadpool was how they handled Negasonic, Teenage Warhead, and Colossus. Because that felt like X-Men. That felt like Astonishing X-Men. Like, that felt like some Claremont stuff. That felt like animated series. So that's why, really, I am almost talking myself into the movie. I have more pros for it. I just wish it was Tim Miller is doing an X-Men movie and Kitty Pryde is the main character. Whether she's the leader or she's a new person, that's what I want. Even call it Kitty Pryde and the X-Men. X-Men and Kitty Pryde. I just think a Kitty Pryde solo movie, I don't know, it's the same thing as Gambit. I think if you have a good story there, tell it. I could be proven completely wrong, but I want them in the team and then go in the solo movie. And especially because they're the origins. It does help, I guess, because people don't know the origin of Gambit. They don't know the origins of Kitty Pryde. But at the end of the day, they just get their powers. And then they end up to the X-Men. And to me, you have, what is the Gang of Thieves or something with Gambit. But for me, for the most part, their most interesting stories are with other X-Men. And I'm not saying there are not interesting characters without them. It's just seeing them bounce off people on their team. Or bounce off love interests like a Rogue. Like a Colossus. Does that mean we don't get those people in those movies? I don't know. Tim Miller was great with Colossus, so maybe he's planning on bringing that back. But and that Colossus is the most Colossus is like to X-Men. But when I think about Kitty Pryde and Colossus, it feels a little bit different, not as ho-hummy or jokey. So I think he could pull that down. I think this movie does have a good chance of not happening at all, and that's why I guess Frosty said that on Collider. I think this is something that's one of these movies that's going to be in development, and when the Disney X-Men movie comes out and Kitty Pryde is cast and she's in there, when you go to IMDb and you look at the trivia, it'll be like, 5 years ago, before this movie was made, Tim Miller was developing a Kitty Pryde movie, but it fell through. I think that's what's going to happen here. I'm not opposed to it at the end of the day. I think for me, it's just a simple of, same way as prequels, I don't like things getting split up. I like, you can call me trained like the way Marvel has me, but I like the, going towards something and then it's a team and then you split them up and then you do the movies. Or something like Spider-Man or Black Panther. I like that idea of spin it off, introduce them first and then go and do the solo things. I like even originally, I think who did it first was X-Men. They built Wolverine as a popular character. He got his own movie. I like that. It's boring. Maybe it's the same. It's nothing unique, but it's a recipe that doesn't need any fixing. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Right? That's kind of my motto with that. So, who knows? I don't think they'd cast Ellen Page. I think it'll be something like Deadpool, completely new. So at the end of the day, I'm more for the movie than I am against. After I did talk about it, but it's just I can't get over that hump. It's the same way with Black Widow. I'll be excited no matter what, but if they say, hey, it's a prequel, there's always been a minute same way as like the Batman coming out with Matt Reeves. Fuck, I do not want to be a goddamn, I said the Batman. I do not want to be younger Batman, a prequel to Ben Affleck's Bruce Wayne. No, We're in this box. I know where we're gonna go. I know where we're getting to. I know he doesn't die. Yeah, they're never gonna die in superhero movies. I know that, but still have that little just question because you know 100% it's not gonna happen. But there's that question of what if, like in Dark Knight Rise, right? It's the last one. He could die. Did he die? No. But it was fun having that question. If Dark Knight Rises was a prequel to some movie and Batman and Bruce Wayne was still around, that tension's gone. Last news, talk about tension's gone. This is gonna be the quick news, and then let's get out of here. This was a fun episode. I'm glad I come here, rant and rave, and let me know in the comments what you think. I guess I can get my quick plugs out of the way now. Please like or subscribe to the channel if you like my show, if you like Geeks Creed, if you like Raw or Not, if you like the main show, which will be back. There's gonna be an episode dropping tomorrow. It's our 2018 preview, and then next week I'm pretty sure we are back. We're gonna be live. I cannot wait to get together with everybody. You're gonna have a good time. And I think again for 2017 because we had a great year. Check out my Oscar reviews. I know Oscar season has not done their nominations, but it's getting up there. Golden Globes happen, so it's fun. I'm gonna probably review Shape of Water soon if I have time. And if you like what we do and you want stuff early, like some of the stuff I teased, some stuff I do know we've recorded, Spider-Man retrospective, Marvel retrospective, go to Patreon, spend $1, spend $5. You can get half our content, all of our content. We work really hard, and we don't do just fun little 20-minute reviews. And if you like those, that's great. We do those sometimes too, but we try to get in-depth as possible about topics. We want, especially with Patreon, if you're spending any money, we want to give you a bang for your buck. So thank you very much for all that. This is going to be a quick rant. You know what's not bang for a buck? This fucking Tom Hardy as Venom photo going around. Because it's just him as Eddie Brock. And you could honestly tune out if you want, because this is just going to be ranting. This would be on a rant or repeat episode. It's going to be quick, not even 5 minutes. So, two things. One, they promote this on IGN as a first look. It's literally just Tom Hardy as Tom Hardy. You can say, oh, as Eddie Brock. He's not blonde. He doesn't look like Eddie Brock. So it's not like, ooh, some transformation. It's just, he could have been standing on the set. This could be a picture 5 years ago, him at the DMV waiting in line. It's just him in a shirt looking at something. And maybe someone will point out in a trailer and be like, that scene's from that scene. That is important. But right now, this is your first look at Venom, and they decide just to release a photo of Tom Hardy. Just a regular old fucking photo. Ugh, I want to get excited for this Venom movie, Sony, but you're not letting me. But this is the other thing. There are some accounts that I'm a big fan of. And you know, it's a cheap plug for them, Super Bro Movies. I'm a big fan of them, and I've talked to the runner of that page a couple times, just briefly, just about sometimes I asked him for help on Twitter when we first started. We both follow each other, and I asked him one time, we had a conversation with a fan. Just things like that. And he's a cool guy. And he, to me, lots of times when I'm working or busy, I like to take news, and I take a link from maybe it's Heroic Hollywood or The Wrap or Deadline if they've reported, or even Super Bowl Movies. I like to take the article, and usually I will quote tweet it or take it and put it on there and then do my own tweet. It helps with exposure, obviously, when you're running a podcast. When I am with my new work schedule, where I work now, sometimes it's hard where, like, the news today when it broke, didn't have time to write my own thing, so I just go and retweet somebody. And sometimes it is him, sometimes it's not. I usually just go with, I actually go with him quite a bit because I like the way he words things, but sometimes it's just, hey, I'm in a rush, this one popped up first, I'm gonna go. There's some stories, though, I specifically will retweet him or other people like him because of the way they word it. Saying, first look at Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock and Venom, perfect way. Saying, first Venom photo released, Tom Hardy as Venom, or just first Venom Tom Hardy photo released, and then also, so that's fine, and that's not fine. That's like the one level of like, fuck you, clickbaity. And it's just annoying. I'm not clicking on, but it's just like annoying because I know, because of people like Super Bowl Movies or other people that do report it well, of like, hey, it's just of Eddie Brock. I do not need to look at this. So when I get home and look at it, I'm like, oh my god. Because the other reason is why I did look at it at one point during my lunch break, and then I looked at it again just to see sometimes maybe it's like, oh, there's two photos, and I scrolled, I didn't see it. People were putting, obviously, first photo of Venom released, and it's a picture of like buff Tom Hardy, and then it's like to the left or to the right comic book version of Venom. Oh, fuck all you guys. I hate all those people. Because I was like, I clearly, and that's why I did look at it again when I got home. I'm like, clearly, it was just him in a shirt, right? Did I completely miss it? And then when I look around to see, did I miss something? And no, it's still just this Tom Hardy photo. And people are, and it's not even that it's not that they got me with the clickbait, because I knew that was not the case, and I looked at all the stories before I got on here, because I just want to refresh what I was going to talk about. But it's just, not that I'm mad that they're just trying to, I am kind of mad that they're just trying to go for the clickbait, but it's just such a super shitty way of just like the clickbait of like Venom over top of Tom Hardy or something like that. And then you click and it's fucking Tom Hardy in a t-shirt. And it's like, oh man, fuck you guys. So there's your lesson. Follow good people on Twitter. That's just pure clickbait. It's annoying. It's like the people that are tweeting out Justice League spoilers like a day after. Like, does Superman die? How does Superman come back? Fuck you guys. Now I just block those people on Twitter because I just don't want that popping up at all if they spoil something for me or whatnot. Just, it was a mini rant because I saw so many people, I'm not going to list names, but so many accounts of just like Tom Hardy Venom picture, Venom in the background, it's looking scary, but if you click on it, it's going to be a guy in a t-shirt. Well, thank you for watching this guy in a t-shirt. Next time you hear from me, it will not be boring. Peace.